You found the Taxi Stand Hour.
Over.
On Radio TFI.
Join the conversation. You can reach the guys at 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428, on Twitter at Taxi Stand Hour. From a payphone, call collect.
So most people have a fear of acquiring the virus. I think a good way of doing it is to imagine that you do have the virus, and change your behaviour so that you're not transmitting it. Don't think about changing your behaviour so you won't get it. Think about changing your behaviour so you don't give it to somebody else.
And good morning once again here. God, I got to get myself back in running mode here. My goodness. Well, geez, I feel like it's been like 3 months since we've done a show, so I'm just kind of like, oh, is this what we're supposed to do? Oh, okay. So, anyways, well, I'll get to it. Don't give me this run around, move along shit. Anyways, good morning, everybody. You are listening to the Taxi Stand Hour on Radio TFI and on the Radio TFI streaming network from the Northern Command Studios and Study Hall in Eagan, Minnesota. I'm John Shannon. Oh my goodness. I'm going to lose it. I swear to God. We 2 minutes in and I'm going to lose it. Anyways, this
being generous.
This guy over here from Queens, New York, in the illustrious Radio TFI gleaming executive tower, it is Mr. Ed Van Ness. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, kids and kittens. Welcome back. We're back. It's like John said, it's only been 2 weeks, but we're acting as if we've never done this before. Hope you had a happy and exciting and restful holiday last week. John and I each had personal things to do. We'll talk about that in just a minute. John, you mentioned the study hall. Is somebody else in there during studio time?
Oh, the young Miss Angela came to get her laptop and book out of here just as we were going on air.
I told you we have to beef up security at the Northern Command Center.
I know.
We've talked about this. But anyway, we all had a great couple of weeks. We're happy to be back. We got some goodies for you today. And young Mr. Shannon, I'll see you at 11:50. See ya.
Okay. Oh goodness me. So
all right. How was your Memorial Day weekend? Let's do this.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Well, Saturday, I did something that I completely said was totally overrated.
Yeah, you did.
You never catch me doing it. Guess what? I went out.
Not a chance.
I went out and did Saturday.
I know what you did.
I shouldn't say we because young Brandon rented out a pontoon boat, and we went on one of Minnesota's biggest interior lakes to go fishing.
Doesn't Minnesota have like 10,000 lakes?
Well, I think they count a couple of mud puddles in that mix, but yeah, that's the moniker, if you will.
Wasn't that on the license plate?
Yes, it is. So
you were on one of the 10,000 lakes.
Yes. So we try to hand it fishing, and that's why they call it fishing and not catching.
Fishing. Yep.
You know what? It was fun, but at the same time, it was miserable because.
How did Master Oliver enjoy himself?
We purposely got a pontoon just for that reason. He didn't have to he didn't have to stay,
Put.
in one area, stay put.
Right.
He could move around the vessel, and it was he handled it all right. I can't. Didn't want to share his fishing pole with Granny Annie, but that was
That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. I personally, I get seasick in the shower, so fishing not really. But Ed, you can fish from the shore. No, I can't. Well, good. I'm glad the young man had a good time.
The only thing that I wanted to drive home is I kind of use baseball as an analogy here.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, young Brandon, young Angie have not, to my knowledge, that's the first time they ever went fishing.
Ooh, okay.
First time either Annie or I have been fishing. I haven't been fishing in 30 years. I don't know if Annie.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Was anybody on the vessel knew what they were doing as far as fishing went?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm just trying to get the picture here, the portrait,
Yeah. We knew enough to put the bait on the hook, throw the bait overboard, and so we all sang, "Here, fishy, 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 fishy."
Well, it's not like Deadliest Catch, right? Where you had to drop a pot and
no,
in the Bering Sea or anything like that.
No, and we weren't rolling out chum or anything like that.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. Well, good.
So, but the only thing was we went on, other than Lake Superior. Well, let's put it this way: we went on Minnesota's largest interior lake. Out of 10,000 lakes to choose from, we have to choose the biggest lake. So that's kind of like baseball. You don't start out at the major leagues. You generally.
Well, you can also look at it this way. You didn't have to traverse the entire lake.
We couldn't have. We would have ran out of gas on that pontoon had we tried that.
My point is, you leave the dock and you could just stay. So as long as you're inside of the dock. You don't have to travel the whole thing. I've been on small lakes. I've been on big lakes. And,
The thing is, though, is we got out on the lake. We got out probably a good, I'd say we probably got a good 2 or 3 miles out into the lake.
Ooh. Who was driving the boat, by the way?
Oh, we let Angie drove it for the majority of the time. I drove it a little bit, but I think Angie got as much enjoyment out of driving the boat as she did fishing, to be honest with you.
Sometimes that's all you can ask for now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So but we got out there and it wasn't even close to being the middle of the lake. And all of a sudden we're hitting choppy waters like you wouldn't believe. It was, and the wind, it was windier than hell. And it was just, let's just say we dressed Minnesotan for the occasion, and it's a good thing we did.
Well, I'm glad everybody had a good time at the end.
Yeah,
I promise you, the stories years from now will be much better than the experience itself.
Well, we won't have to worry about talking about catching fish because there weren't none to catch.
Oh, years from now, you would have caught dozens of fish. That's where the story will be. I promise you.
Well, the sad part about that lake is there's restrictions on the amount of fish you can catch on that lake.
Oh, so there's your story. What?
There you go. There you go.
We didn't want to violate the restrictions.
Exactly. And we came nowhere near close to violating any restrictions.
Our hands were clean. There was they had nothing on us.
You know it.
Well, good. We're happy that you had a wonderful, wonderful family experience, and young Master Oliver had a good time. Well,
and then Granny Annie and I, that was the main reason that I was taking off anyways, is that baby Oliver got baptized.
Master Oliver.
Yeah.
Dude. So, look, Look, you're talking to a guy who just saw most of his nieces and nephews. Don't talk to me about they're still babies, okay?
But so we got him baptized Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon we took off for a little town called Walt Hill, Nebraska.
What, pray tell, is in Walt Hill, Nebraska?
Now we went out there for Memorial Day. Now my parents are buried out there. And I'm told I actually have a plot out there at that same cemetery. So,
well, let's find out.
Well, there you. Only one way to know.
Only one way for certain. See, what you don't know is that when you have a plot, as soon as you kick, boom, there's a crew that comes out, picks you up, drops you right in your hole.
Sounds pretty painless to me.
Well, not the first part.
So we went out there, spent the night Sunday night, spent a little bit of time on Monday with some family and what have you. And
sounds nice.
It was a nice trip. It was getting a little long, but we took my car, my cab, and I get a little leery of taking my cab on those long road trips because some bitch has got 210,000 miles on it now.
She can handle it. She
did. She handled it like a champ. So, all in all, it all worked out good. So,
absolutely fabulous. And to hear that.
And my friend, I'll tell you something. I saw some pictures on. Yeah, you saw some pictures on Facebook.
Jeez.
Hey, you clean up kind of nice there.
I do.
Yeah. Now, so whose wedding was this that you attended?
Well, last Sunday, excuse me, May 30th, my one of my nephews, Thomas, got hitched to his lovely now bride, Megan. She's a lovely girl. They've been together for 12 years since high school.
Wow.
And they went to college. They were separated for about 4 years. It's a great story, actually. My nephew had a medical issue a while back, and she was right there with him the whole time. I didn't get a chance to speak to her really at the wedding, because she's the bride. It's her day. She's all over the place. But in the past, at other events, I've gotten to talk to her. She is just a sweetheart, and I love this girl to pieces. She's just fantastic. So anyway. So yes, I went out and I think I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I went out and I bought a new suit. So I was looking real fine. Let's start Sunday morning. I got dressed. Now I was really looking forward. I hadn't really put the whole ensemble on together, and everything fit. Everything was fine. The two problems: the shirt didn't have a pocket, which disappointed me. I hadn't tried it on. I just opened it up out of the package, presuming it was the right size, which was really dumb when you get right down to it. Just waiting till that day. But lo and behold. So I had also gone with suspenders. I was wearing a belt, but I also wanted suspenders because I didn't want to be yanking my pants up all day and tucking my shirt in. Well, when I got dressed, so here I am. I've got the white shirt on, long sleeves. I've got the pants on, and I put the suspenders on. And look, I know I've put on a lot of weight lately. But boy, oh boy, these suspenders just accentuated. I look like one of those old fat Southern lawyers. Oh my God, it was horrendous. That was my you got to do something moment. And we'll talk about that as time goes on. So now last week here in the Northeast, we had, if you're anywhere on the East Coast, the kind of weather we had last week. It was just rain, and buckets of rain. It lasted most of the day. So I get out to my car. I have my jacket wrapped in plastic. I was wearing a little raincoat, and I get into my van. There was an hour and 40-minute drive to the venue. pretty much it was an hour and 40-minute drive for everybody, no matter where they were coming from. There was a hotel nearby that, a lot of people were staying at. I wasn't going to stay. I drove in a driving rain for about the first hour and a half. I got to the about 10 minutes before I got to the venue. It lightened up a little bit. It came back. Beautiful venue, overlooking a lake. They had an outdoor patio, a gazebo area. Excuse me. I looked on their website, and they did ceremonies out there. Obviously, this was not happening that day. We did the ceremony indoors. So we get there. I'm seeing people that I haven't seen. Blah blah blah. Say hello, all that, and then we, the ceremony began. It was lovely. The wedding party came in. And I see this one young girl walking. Son of a gun, it's my niece. And I haven't seen her in a few years. And my niece, Kelly, boy, oh boy, she's a beautiful young woman now. And it was, and she, by the way, side note, she was the second star of the show. She had a blast all night long, being part of her brother's wedding. The groom, Thomas, had both of his brothers and his sister as part of the wedding party. So it was really nice. My brother and his wife, they were just beaming. They're having a grand, And I got to speak to most of my nieces and nephews. A couple of them weren't there. And I spoke to more people named Van Ness that night than, boy, oh boy, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw that many. It's nice to be in a room where everybody knows how to spell your last name.
Got a little mini family reunion going there, huh?
Yeah, something like that. So, I had my one beer, which was interesting because I had just gone to the bar and I had said I was going to have one beer. My brother, whose son got married, we had talked about a week or so before, and he wanted to know if I was going to stay at the hotel. I said, no. I'm not really drinking that much anymore. I said, at most I'll have a beer, and that'll be that. So I get the beer. And I just come back from the bar, and I'm standing there, and there's my brother Mike. And he's, how many is that for you? Are you, And I said, it's like I told you, it's my first and only. I said, matter of fact, I haven't taken a sip out of it yet. He's looking at me. I point to one of my other brothers. I said, back me up on this, because I was sitting there drinking Coke all night, And so I had to get verification from my brother Ray that. So I had my one beer, Bud Light, which everybody knows, light beer, because nobody likes a fat drunk.
I found that out the hard way a long time ago.
Well, it's not my joke, but so but again, all in all, a good time was had. I left. Actually, a couple of my siblings left. We all left about the same time, coincidentally, and left about 10:30. The party was going strong, but I had a long drive in front of me. Everybody that wasn't staying had a long drive in front of them, except for my brother Ray. He didn't live too far from there, but he was still an hour away. I come to find out that the party went on till about 2 a.m., which is, to be expected. They shut down the venue at about midnight, and the party continued at the hotel, I'm told. And a good time was had by all. And I'm not going to lie, it went a whole lot better than I thought it was going to go. I had a much better time than I expected. And that's got nothing to do with my nieces and nephews.
Well, congratulations to your nephew and his bride. And
congratulations, Thomas and Megan. And I got to see my Aunt Sissy, too. My father's sister. Turns out she just became a great-grandmother. So the things you find out.
Well, all I can say is thanks to the good Karen for keeping keeping a log, taking lots of pictures. And
yeah, she did. I'm only in 3 pictures, by the way. 3.
But my good friend did clean up rather well, and hey, glad you guys had a good time.
Yeah, I turned out liking the suit more than I thought I would when I first bought it because I couldn't get anything else in my size. Because oh, by the way, when I told my brother about the suspenders story, he literally almost fell on the floor laughing. Now, his son, my nephew Harry, who's a stand-up comic, by the way, and he loves to take shots at me when he can. You know, you give this kid, you think I'm bad, you give this kid any kind of an opening, and especially with me, he just loves taking the shot, and I love it. It's all fine. But my brother was sitting there laughing, almost falling off the chair for about 5 minutes straight when I told him the Southern Lawyer suspenders thing. He said, "No, you know what? I'm going to keep this one to myself." He says, "Years from now, I'll bust out laughing and nobody will know why but me." I'm going to, okay. So anyway, that was Memorial Day weekend for us. Monday, I came home and I just kind of lollygagged about. So there you have it. There you have it. Now, do you know what today is, John? He said, moving on.
Well, other than June 6th, which I didn't announce here. So, by the way, yeah, this is the June 6th show of 2021.
Right. You know what June 6th is?
Actually, I'll probably know once you tell me.
You ever heard of D-Day?
Really? I'm not that great of a history buff.
Well, maybe you know what else it is.
Do tell.
It's drive-in movie day. According to timeanddate.com, fun holidays. Today is drive-in movie day.
We still have a couple. We have a couple of drive-ins here in Minnesota. So
never been to a drive-in.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
So I've heard, but I grew up in Manhattan back when, and remember, you got to mute when you drink that thing. It's very noisy.
Oh, sorry.
Remember, I grew up in Midtown Manhattan where we had a gazillion movie theaters back when every place only showed one movie.
Right.
You know, we didn't have cars, let alone a drive-in. And when I moved to South Florida, there was only one drive-in nearby, and I was working nights. So
there you go.
Well,
what do you say?
Hold on. I'm not done yet. Friday was National Donut Day.
I remember that. I actually did have 2 donuts on Friday.
And tomorrow, and dig through your closet now, kids and kittens. Tomorrow, June 7th, is VCR Day. So be kind, rewind.
VCR Day.
Hey, it's right here on the website, man. You can't lie about such a thing. You can't make that up. You wouldn't want to make that up.
No kidding.
No kidding.
754-800 chat. 754-800-2428 is the number. I think we're going to get rolling here on a few topics. Why don't you go ahead and lead us off there with the most annoying sounder in radio history here.
Geez, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. Because guess what I forgot about?
You forgot all about it. And I had to remind you.
You had to remind me. It's time for the Radio TFI Market Watch, sponsored by It Could Be You. 2 weeks ago, let's see, Uber closed Friday at $50.18, up $1.36 from 2 weeks ago. Lyft closed at $57.40, up $5.08 from 2 weeks ago. That's been the Radio TFI Market Watch. Please sponsor this bit.
Well,
I'm getting very good with the timing there, aren't I?
So, just as I was afraid, and somewhat predicted, it looks like
Yes.
Uber and Lyft are starting to claw their way back from that little nosedive that they took. That was a month and a half ago?
Right. But remember, these numbers are from 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Okay. So we don't have last week's numbers. And Look, they're getting their butts kicked right now because they don't have enough drivers.
Well, that's just the bottom line. Well, there's a labor shortage in general, and so who in the hell, if they're not going to work, if they're not going to work for McDonald's flipping burgers, and a lot of these places are giving $15-18 an hour. They're not going to go to work for Uber and Lyft, put the miles on their own cars, and clear after it's all said and done. Clear, if they're lucky, $9-10 an hour.
Right. Other places are hiring. Other places are starting to pay well. And why would you provide all the tools for the job?
Exactly.
And look, you're getting emails. I'm getting emails from Uber, and they bolted the door behind me. This is how desperate they are. This is how desperate they are. They're taking back anybody now, anybody that's willing. But again, they're raising their prices, but the drivers aren't seeing any of it. Taxi business is starting to come back to life a little bit there, which is good news.
It is.
Good news. Actually, I had a very interesting phone call during our break. I got an email because I'm still on their email list from the company that I used to be affiliated with, Yellow Cat of Broward. Well, they're offering a deal starting tomorrow. I think if you jump on the deal, if you lease a cab, lease a weekly cab, and you stick with it for 4 weeks, they will give you the next 4 weeks free. Now, the only thing I don't like about the offer is that they're limiting it to the first 10 drivers. Now, my question is, what if you're driver number 11? But anyway,
you froze on me a little bit there, so I didn't get to hear part of what you were saying there.
Well, they're limiting it to 10 drivers.
Okay.
And I got to wonder if you're driver number 11. Now, on top of the email, there was a robocall from the operations manager, the lovely and talented Regina. So I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity. I haven't spoken to her in a couple of years. So this was Friday, as a matter of fact. Last Friday. And so I gave her a call. We chit-chatted, how you doing? I'm fine. How's things going down there? Oh, she said, well, things are starting to turn around. And, and we talked a little bit about the offer and, how I'm doing and all that. And I was a little surprised that she's still there. Although she has been with that company. Oh God. She's got to be close to 40 years now. Not 35, something like, because she came in as a cashier a year or two after I started. And now she's been operation manager for years now. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm kind of glad she's still there because she is the glue that holds that place together. But according to her, yeah, things are starting to, they had a good spring. They're good cruise season. So, they're getting there. They're getting there. And I think it's a great offer. Again, the only thing I would have done is I wouldn't limit it to 10 drivers. I would say, look, come back by X date and you pay for 4, we'll give you 4. That's how I used to do it with I used to reward drivers. Bring me a driver and I'll give you $50, but only after they've paid for 2 weeks. So basically at the start of the 3rd week.
Our company is doing exactly that. I was just going to tell you, our company is offering $50 a week off of a lease for X amount of weeks if you refer a driver.
Well, I was doing this long before Uber.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I got to thinking about that a little bit, and heck, I could beat the weeds for drivers. There's a lot of guys that I know that work for the competition that I could, if I gave them a little bit of sales pitch, come over to our company. But Why the hell do I want to do that? I'm liking the idea. I'm liking the idea that I've stayed relatively steady for the last for the last 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. It's been I've had all I can do.
Right. Like getting
Really
back to Uber and the stocks and all that. Keep in mind, Uber is offloading everything that's not Uber Eats or the transportation. They're getting rid of all of it. You know, they pissed away billions on that self-driving car nonsense, which was never going to work. Not in this lifetime, anyway. Excuse me. I apologize, folks. That's this gosh darn cold. Oh, by the way, just to finish up, the wedding was the first event at this place where a first fully attended event. None of us were wearing masks. We're all vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. Guess what your old Uncle Ed came away with? A cold.
Mm-hmm.
I survived COVID, but I couldn't get past one event without getting a cold. Anyway,
they were saying people that were wearing masks. Nobody got sick.
That's right.
So
anyway, Uber is getting rid of all the other nonsense. So that's going to bring them up a little bit in the stock market. But again, they're raising their rates for customers, lowering the pay for the drivers. It's never going to work. And until people get the idea, well, people are starting to take taxis again. Because why? It's a consistent regulated rate. Because it's not at the whim of, look, it may be tough to get a cab on New Year's Eve, but you know what you're going to pay.
Exactly.
You know what you're going to pay. You're not going to get gigged. How many people over the years have been screwed over by Uber? By the way, because this came up again, our good pal Jafar up there in Toronto, Canada, was talking about this. He's pushing delete Uber, a great idea. But again, don't just delete the app. Cancel your account. More importantly, change your payment method. If you have a debit card on there, go to your bank, have them replace the debit card. Why? Because eventually Uber will tap into your debit card with phony charges. Once you remove their access to your money, that's it. That you're done with them. You're done with them. So, and by the way, if you try to cancel your account with them, they will do everything they can. They will tell you it takes 30 days, blah, blah, blah. Of course, the best way is just stop using them. But if you really want to separate, you have to cancel the account. Deleting the app is a great start. Don't misunderstand. But also deny them access to your payment information.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that the private pay fares that I've picked over the last few weeks, majority of them just want to use cash. They don't. They don't really want to get into this whole thing with credit cards and what have you, and having that information out there. And I don't know. I still like dealing with cards better just because I don't want to carry a bunch of cash. But
it's good for the public to have the option. It's good for the public to have the option. Excuse me. All right, we're ready to move along here to the more side of.
So which way do you want to go? I've got a little bit of stuff here from Minneapolis from this last week. Or do you want to go over to? You've got a bunch of goodies here from various right-wing nut job organizations here and what have you.
Well, one of my favorites that I stumbled across this week, and let me read this. This is from BJ Kennedy on Twitter at ARC Drag. This is what we're dealing with here. Don't forget both, quote, Trump deserves credit for ending the pandemic by approving the vaccine so quickly, unquote, and, quote, vaccines approved so quickly can't possibly be safe, so I'm not getting it. This is the two sides. These are things that people thrown at you. Oh, Trump got it going. But now, it happened so fast. It can't possibly be safe. It's the hypocrisy of it all.
Exactly.
Let's see What else? Well, let's start with young Mitch McConnell here. This is from Don Winslow.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
this is everything you need to know about Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, 100% of my focus is on stopping this new administration. Yeah, 100% of my focus is on stopping this new administration.
We let it play twice, but just for emphasis, yeah. Once again, and remember, he did this when Obama came into office. Mitch McConnell is interested in power. He's not interested in doing anything for the people of this country, let alone the state of Kentucky. You look at the state that state is in. Meanwhile, when he came to Washington 36 years ago, he was broke. He was flat broke. Now he's worth about $36 million. Way to go, Mitch.
Go figure.
Go figure. Who knew about such things? Let's go to our all-time favorite, Miss Lindsey Graham, speaking to an ex-Marine, former Marine. I'm sorry, nobody's ever an ex-Marine. Former Marine, and let's just take a listen.
I live in Louisiana, lots of friends in South Carolina. I see how you're paraded in the press, and I honestly believe that you believe in our democracy as I do. I came to D.C. because I'm a Marine. I went to Iraq, and I believe, as I believe that you do, that President Trump is not acting in accordance to his oath. The oath that you took, and I did to defend the Constitution. You took an oath.
Yeah, I did. I don't think.
I mean, you have. Is that it?
That's it.
So as soon as this former Marine mentions to Miss Lindsay that, hey, you took an oath to defend the Constitution, I don't think Trump is doing it. Oh, see ya. You couldn't see it for our radio audience, but at that point, Miss Lindsay just scurries right off into his office, leaves the guy standing there. And that's who we're dealing with these days. That's who we're dealing with.
Oh,
Now,
exactly. They don't want to, and I thought that there was some hope for the Republican Party.
You're dreaming.
Well, what can I say?
Here's
That's
all you need to know. This is from last week. This would have been on last week's show, but this is your friend, Buckethead. Okay, Sean Hannity, speaking with the governor of Arizona, and this is the governor of Arizona speaking. Take a listen to this.
What will we find in this Maricopa recount? Anything?
Well, this is our fourth audit. There's already been 3 audits. This is the 4th one. The first 3 came out clean. Let's see what this 4th one says. But I think if you look at Arizona and what's happening in other Republican states, we really have a compendium of best practices on
Real quick, integrity. Yes or no, is Donald Trump still the leader of the Republican Party?
Well, he's the former president. He's the largest voice.
Is he the leader?
Let's be a 75 million plus party. Let's be a party of addition.
Is he the leader?
Yes.
Yep.
Is he the leader?
I don't think anyone defines leadership of a party. It's defined by principles, by core values, by good government.
Is it the America First, Make America Great agenda?
Absolutely. That's all part of it.
There. So no matter how many times we count and we find out that Trump lost, no. We'll keep digging. So, and that's the governor of Arizona, by the way, who's look, these people are.
It's so funny. Well, it isn't funny, but these people, when this first started coming down, people, they were sure that Trump was in the wrong as far as spreading the lies about how he, the big lie, as it's called. And spreading that, and the Republicans, you were starting to see some of them actually starting to have a little common sense, but now they're coming to find out that the power that Trump is wielding is overwhelming, and now they're scurrying for their political lives, and so now they're all getting back on board. Mm-hmm. with Trump, and it's like I've said, as John Q. voter, as long as the Republican Party continues to even utter the name Trump in a positive tone. You've lost me. I don't give it. Bring out the ham sandwiches. That's all I got to say.
Well, as we get caught up here on 2 weeks of not talking about any of this, let's bring back somebody we haven't heard from in a while. John's new favorite, the one, the only, Keith Olbermann.
I'm a simple Marine, said the MAGA maggot who rose to speak at the QAnon convention in Dallas Sunday. I want to know why what happened in Myanmar can't happen here. Even through that stupidity, Michael Flynn, the disgraced former general, Trump national security advisor, and Putin stooge, knew the alleged Marine was talking about the military coup in Myanmar on February 1st. Flynn answered, quote, no reason. I mean, it should happen here. The maggots roared. Flynn continued, no reason, right? That's right. Michael Flynn, who last December tried to talk Trump into declaring martial law, has now endorsed a military coup to overthrow the civilian government of the United States of America and presumably to detain or kill the president, vice president, the cabinet, senators, congressmen, and any civilians who object. And we are still ignoring Michael Flynn and those who would destroy democracy here. We are still inviting coups and bloodshed and doom because even after January 6th, somehow some Democrats and most media will not accept even the possibility that it can happen here, even after it did happen here. I call on the President of the United States to openly and loudly instruct his Attorney General to prosecute Michael Flynn for violation of 18 U.S. Code 2385. That is the statute against advocating the overthrow of the United States government. And I call on the President to openly and loudly instruct the Secretary of Defense to return General Flynn to active duty and then to begin court-martial proceedings against him for violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. This is where this shit has to end. The time for walking on eggshells, hoping it won't happen again, wishing for peace and healing is over. Michael Flynn and his ilk have declared war on the United States of America on Memorial Day weekend. They want the military to take over the government. To hell with them. Arrest Flynn. Court-martial him, make an example of him to all the other MAGA maggots who call themselves patriots when they are in fact fascist scum. January 6th was their practice. They want another coup. All they should get instead is indictment, a public lawyer, and God willing, prisons enough for all of them.
Keith Olbermann. I apologize for the audio on that. We cranked it up a little louder than we should have.
Oh, well, I don't know that there is a more passionate voice when it comes to these matters. I'm really, it's stunning, but he's absolutely right. It was hilarious, listening to Flynn trying to walk all that back. It was crazy. It was crazy listening to him trying to walk all this back. Oh, I never said that. There's no place for a coup in this country. That's not what you said. That's not what you were talking about in front of all these ravenous maggots. I love that. That's a great term for it.
You know what we need to keep in mind, though, is that the Trump supporters are a very, very small percentage of eligible voters in this country. And even though they're making it tougher, the Republicans are, as long as we come out to vote, no matter what hurdles they put in our way. And when I say we, I don't mean people like John and I. We're white men. They don't care about us. They know they're not going to stop us. But for everybody else, do what you have to get out there and vote so that we keep them out of office, because we need a bigger majority in the Senate. 50-50 ain't cutting it. I mean, yes, we have the vice presidential tiebreaker, but boy, oh boy. And you folks in Kentucky, you pooped the bed this time around. You could have got rid of McConnell, and you didn't. So let's hear from our other favorite, Chip Franklin. John really loves Chip Franklin now, and these are fast and good, and we like them. And yes, we're squeezing a lot in right now because we missed a lot the last couple of weeks. So, and this will be the last one for this hour. So here he is, Chip Franklin.
China is to blame.
On one hand, there's science and its unrelenting search for truth. On the other hand, there's Republicans.
You'll develop like a herd mentality.
Herd mentality? Republicans have ignored science from the start.
Brought the light inside the body.
First, masks and distancing.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Then vaccines.
I'm not getting vaccinated.
And now COVID's origins.
China.
COVID wasn't created in an evil Chinese lab. We have the evidence. SARS-CoV-2's molecular structure is distinct from the known coronaviruses and instead resembles viruses that are found in bats and pangolins that, unlike Republicans, have never been known to cause humans harm.
Kung flu.
But could the Chinese have foobarred the safety protocols? Sure, I mean, they're nowhere near as smart as us. Bottom line, if you were looking to engineer a bioweapon, you'd make it from a virus already known to make people sick, like Ted Cruz.
Freedom!
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's a penis.
What else has to happen in this country?
Goddamn right.
That's a good one.
Chip Franklin, ladies and gentlemen. I would follow him on Twitter. You. By the way, again, all these commentaries, etc., are all on the RadioTFI.com website, including more that we don't play on the air, but are there anyway. There's a second Keith Olbermann this week. There's a couple of good. By the way, there's some that don't translate well to radio. There's a couple of make you feel good moments on the, especially one about on the website. There's one about a dog who. You've just got to see it. A reporter went to a shelter to do a story on the shelter, and this dog came up to him, and you just got to see the video. It will just break your heart, make you smile all at the same time. That's RadioTFI.com.
There you go. Well, you look like you got a little teary-eyed just talking about that.
It's a great little video, and when you see the pooch, I didn't want to play it here because while it's a great visual, there's really not a lot of sound to it. Right. So we left it on the website. It's there. We're not hiding it. This is not a thing to get you to go to the website. But if you go, hey, it's not a bad thing.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So we managed to get a lot done there.
We did.
Yeah, now we got 12 minutes to kill.
Well, I don't know. I might want to flow into the other half with this because I quite frankly don't know how long this is going to take for me to get a lot of this off of my chest.
Why don't we save it for the Monday show then?
Excuse me?
We'll save it for the Monday show.
The Monday show.
The Monday show.
Yeah, okay.
You can take as much time as you want on the Monday show.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Stick it where the sun don't shine.
I already have. It's not pleasant. So anyway, what is it that you got that you don't want to do, or you may want to do, or you can't do, or you shouldn't do, or maybe you will do, and toodaloo and scoop-de-doo and scooby-doo and doobie-doo.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, thank you. So Minneapolis, we had kind of an eventful week.
Yeah, you did.
This last week. Started out a few days ago in the wee hours of the morning. City workers, along with a self-delegated group of individuals called Agape, started to disassemble the barricades and what have you there at 38th and Chicago in Minneapolis. And now there's been a lot of talk about what should happen at that particular intersection. Everything from making it. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of it, Ed, but basically at that intersection at 38th and Chicago, they have a memorial, and they have a large fist, a power to the people type fist in the middle of the intersection. And so there were talk about making it a roundabout. Well, nobody, they haven't been able to really come together and agree. So just kind of in the cloak of early in a wee morning, they decided, well, they're going to start moving some of these things and try moving the barricades and reopen the intersection. And I don't think I don't think they understood just how many people that was going to irritate when they did that. There was a group of people that gathered right away with this. They were chanting George Floyd's name. I don't think that people are ready to just open that up to vehicular traffic. So, and I have mixed feelings on this, and I've been sitting and thinking about this a little bit. And at first, I was kind of in that camp. Let's make this a roundabout. God, here in Minnesota, we are all of a sudden in love with roundabouts. But then I got to thinking a little bit more. I said, we have a tendency, we like to block off streets for traffic. We have an area known as Nicollet Mall. It's an 11 block long stretch through downtown where the only thing that is allowed through there is bus traffic and I think they allow taxis through there, if I'm not mistaken. They don't want vehicles through there. And there you can't turn onto Nicollet Mall from any one of its cross streets. So if you get on it one end at the west end of it, and you move on to the east end of it, if you will. Or I should say actually north and south, respectively. But I just got to thinking here about 38th in Chicago is why. Well, I'll tell you what. I put out a tweet and my good friend, our good friend of the show, Shaletta, actually read it. So I'll just play what she read.
John Shannon said, after last break, I've got this little thought, and I've concluded that if you can block an 11-block stretch of downtown streets, there is no reason 38th in Chicago couldn't be blocked to through traffic. There are plenty of other thoroughfares in the area: 35th, 36th, 42nd, Park, and Portland.
Now, to clarify again for my non-Minneapolis friends, 35th, 36th, 42nd are all east-west thoroughfares. Park and Portland are two main thoroughfares that are just two blocks over from Chicago Avenue, and they're one way. Used to be, they were actually a very good thoroughfare until they decided to, let's have not one but two lanes worth of bike traffic on these lanes of as it is. So let's narrow that down a little bit.
John, not to interrupt you, but just to clarify, excuse me, that was Shaletta on her show on WCCO.
That is correct. Her show that airs every Saturday at 11 o'clock Central Time.
All right, and that's why we moved our show, so as not to compete with her.
Well, it wouldn't compete with her anyway. There's no competition, but.
You said it.
You take that any way you want to take it.
Moving on. We'll argue about this during the break.
And I appreciate Shaletta giving me a shout out on the tweet by all means, but I don't feel like. I mean, there are people, like she said, and I've seen this myself. There are people coming from from all over the country, all over the world, who are coming to see this memorial. It's it wasn't done by none of this was done by the city. This was all done by people who care. This memorial means more than I could ever, as an old white guy, it means more than I could ever describe. And this has really become sacred ground. And I just am having a hard time with the idea that why does it have to be taken down? Why can't this be made into a permanent one block, just one block. Doesn't have to, you don't have to block off multiple blocks. Just the intersection. There's no reason in my opinion why this can't be done. And I don't know, there are smarter minds than me that'll be able to figure this out. And we'll just have to see how this goes forward. By the way, people aren't having it, by the way, because as soon as they started tearing down all these blockades and whatnot, took the jerry walls out of the way and what have you. The people said, to hell with this. They started moving stuff back in to start blocking, including old refrigerators, old stoves. They started. It was actually quite humorous when I went through that area. A few hours later that day, I went through there and I couldn't believe it. It's like, well, the people have spoken. The people have spoken in that area. And by the way, Shaletta, I appreciate it, but I could find a ham sandwich right now that's smarter than me. So. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you're home yet or not from your drive from Houston, but I sure hope you make it back safely if you haven't already done so. That had been quite the trip for her. Shaletta buried her grandmother over the weekend, and so lots of love and a big bear hug to her going through that process. So the other thing that happened here, and this is because I, being again an old white man, I knew nothing about this young man, but there was an individual shot and killed by a task force, a U.S. Marshals task force in Minneapolis. Apparently, what had happened was the individual was being served a warrant. Apparently, they were trying to serve. He was actually kind of minding his own business, and they were trying to serve a warrant. He reportedly brandished a weapon, and several law enforcement officers opened fire on him, killing him. And I forgive me if I'm a little tongue-tied by this one, because this is tough, because I don't under any circumstance think that you should escalate a situation with law enforcement by trying to get into, get involved into a shootout by pulling a gun on these cops. I'll get into this here a little bit more in the second hour. Forgive me again for not having myself together on this, but we'll be back. You're listening to the Taxi Stand Hour on Radio TFI.
TFI.
You found the Taxi Stand Hour.
The worst talk radio I've ever heard in my life.
On Radio TFI.
Talk too much. Talk too much.
Join the conversation. You can reach the guys at 754-800-CHAT. 754-800-2428. On Twitter at Taxi Stand Hour. From a payphone, call collect.
So most people have a fear of acquiring the virus. I think a good way of doing it is to imagine that you do have the virus, yeah, and change your behavior so that you're not transmitting it. Don't think about changing your behavior so you won't get it. Think about changing your behavior so you don't give it to somebody else.
Don't tell me. Oh yeah, okay. Duck Magnum Duck! Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. I took an IQ test and I flunked it, of course. I can't spell BW, but I got a Porsche. Cause I'm a blonde, B-L-I-N-D. Cause I'm a blonde, don't you wish you were me? I just want to say that being chosen as this month's Miss August is like a compliment I'll remember for as long as I can. Right now I'm a freshman in my 4th year at UCLA. But my goal is to become a veterinarian because I love children. Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause we're a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Girls think I'm snotty and maybe it's true. With my hair and body, you would be too. Cause I'm a blonde, B-L, I don't know. Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Excuse me. We're back here on the Taxi Stand Hour here on Radio TFI and again on the Radio TFI streaming network. Once again from Eagan, Minnesota in the Northern Command Studio. I'm John Shannon. And over there, once again, Mr. Ed Van Ness, live and in color from the Radio TFI Executive Tower. And you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little choked up. Please forgive me on this, Ed. I wasn't prepared really to present this story and the situation which had happened in Minneapolis here just a couple of days ago. A little bit more prepared during the break, hopefully. The man that was shot and killed by this multi-jurisdictional task force, this craziest thing I ever heard. By the way, ironically, none of them had body cams. Supposedly, when they're working for in a federal, they're not allowed to wear body cams, I guess, is the from what I understand. But the man that was killed. His name is Winston Smith Jr., nickname Boogie. Apparently, he was a rapper, did a lot of stuff on YouTube and whatnot. You know, let's face it, I'm not quite up on that or up on his career and what he was doing. But apparently, he was being sentenced for a gun violation, for having a gun as a felon, and he refused to show up for the sentencing. So the cops showed up, and well, the rest is history, unfortunately. And I'm really torn with this because, again, like I said at the end of the first hour, I don't think that the way to engage have any engagement, especially with law enforcement, is to try to produce a gun. It's not going to end well. Police are not going to lose that battle. And
no, they're not. I found it interesting what you said about, because they're multi-jurisdictional and they're federal and blah blah blah, that they can't have body cams. Well, that's a load of malarkey, as someone once said. Why would being a federal task force preclude you from documenting what's going on? Does this give you the right to go back to the bad old days when you could pretty much bust in a joint and do what have you to the people inside? This is why body cams exist. This is why you have First Amendment auditors out there, because unfortunately we do have a significant amount of law enforcement that believe they are above the law and they can do it any way they want. The story you're telling, John, it's important, and I'm unfortunately I'm not aware of any of it. Now I feel somewhat silly for playing a silly song coming out of
that was, you know, that's what you're scheduled anyways. I can't help for what I decided to plop on our lap here as going into the break. So the fact is, though, is you're right. It just seems odd. I don't doubt that that's true as far as the body cams are concerned. But you can't tell me, for one thing, okay, where this happened was in a parking structure, actually the top floor of a parking structure. So you're telling me that they don't have cameras at this parking structure? You're telling me that I mean, Christ, we have cameras everywhere. How did we not get any video whatsoever?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So I don't know. But this has been a rough week here in Minneapolis, and of course, what is happening on top of what's happening at George Floyd Square. Now you got this going on, and what's happening next? Well, in the people's eye, another unjustified shooting of a black man. And you know what? You could have written the script. You knew it was going to happen. You had people throwing damaging buildings and doing some looting to some degree. It wasn't still at the level that after George Floyd, but you know, hey, the week is still young. You know, we don't know if these protests, and again, a great majority of these protests are peaceful protests, but unfortunately, you have a few people who are out there I don't understand where people get to thinking that destroying property is the answer, because all that does for everybody, you have a lot of different layers here. You have people that no matter what, are totally on board 100%. Police are constantly abusing young black, especially males, but abusing black people constantly, and a very little of it is justified. You got that. You've got that sector. Then you have sectors that say, okay, this was a horrible thing that happened, but what did he do to deserve this? Nothing, like you like to say, nothing happens in a vacuum. Then as you go, then you get people that are a little bit more skeptical as you go down. Right now, the idea, the whole essence of Black Lives Matter. Now, some people, I think it is a statement. I don't look at it as a certain group of individuals. I look at it as a statement. Black Lives Matter. All lives matter, but right now, I believe that African Americans need a little bit of our help and our understanding right now. And I'm out there, you're out there, the general public is out there giving that and trying to offer that, doing whatever they can. Hell, there's as many white people there at George Floyd Square putting barricades back up after they got taken down. They're putting the barricades. So white people, I hate using this word, but awoke, woke white people, they get it and they understand what's happening to African Americans. But for those that are sitting on the fence, you think, well, geez, there are businesses, there are mom and pop businesses. I'm not talking about the Walgreens that can use it as a damn insurance write-off or the gas station that could use it as an insurance write-off. I'm not talking about those businesses. I'm talking about the little mom and pop barber shops and little bakeries and those little businesses that won't, when you destroy their business, they're not going to be able to reopen. They're done. It's all done with. And then you see those, and then you start losing people, and you don't want to lose people. You don't want to lose people. This is a good movement. It's a shame that people have to gather and protest like this, but it's great that there are people of all races, all ages, that are out there peacefully protesting. And there's just this handful of people that think the answer is to destroy buildings, to loot, to burn. And it's not the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but that can't be it. And I'm going to tap out because my voice is just about completely fried right about now.
Well said, sir.
Yeah.
Well, you look, you're right there in the midst of it. I'm not. So I have no comment. And it's not that I don't have an opinion. I'm just refraining from commenting. I'm not going to. You've said everything that needs to be said right there. So.
But now you got to carry the show for a little bit because I am out of breath. I am literally out of breath.
Take a moment. We're going to. So anyway, we're going to. You know what it's time for, John?
What is it time for?
Emergency battle.
We're going to bookend. Let's talk about the video we played coming out of the break. One of my favorites, it's called "'Cause I'm a Blonde" by the fantastic Julie Brown. It's from the movie Earth Girls Are Easy, which starred Julie Brown and Gina Davis. Also in the video, if you were watching the video, you will see a very young Jim Carrey, a young Damon Wayans, and Michael McKean, and Sofia Vergara. They're all in that video. They were all in the movie. The video has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. Really, it's not part of the movie, but it's fun. It's funny. I love the part at the end where she says, you know, I'm a freshman in my 4th year. I'll remember this as long as I can. I'll remember this day as long as I can. I'm a veterinarian because I love children. I had to watch that video a bunch of times before I caught a lot of that stuff. She is so funny, Julie Brown. But anyway, so that's what brought us into the second hour and crashing right into John's beautiful soliloquy there. And but you did a great job, young Mr. Shannon. We applaud you. We're proud. We're proud to sit in this box right next to you. I'll take Charlie Cox for the win. Charlie Weaver for the win.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're missing that.
Shaletta was a freshman for 4 years. Shaletta, there was only one thing that kept me out of college, high school. Anyway.
By the way, Shaletta, I want you to know that I was going to try my damnedest to put your little twerking video on the show here. I was going to try to peel it off of Facebook, but my the apps that I use were not allowing me to do so. Otherwise, you would have been the world would have been there to see you twerking there in front of your motorhome.
We'll make it happen next week. I promise.
Absolutely.
Let's move on here. I got slambasted earlier this week by a relative about Fauci's emails. And I'm not going to lie. I have not seen them. I've heard that they're out there. I honestly do not know what's going on with them. I know some stuff has been released, leaked, whatever, or public information. And apparently folks from the GQP are happy because apparently Fauci said or did a couple of things. Well, as always, when we have questions on this show, and we're not certain about something, we go to our opposition reporter, Brent Terhune. Brent, take it away.
There are 3,200 pages of leaked emails so-called Dr. Fauci doesn't want you to see. And I read every single summary on them from both sides, both right and far right. BigMask at hotmail.com writes, tell them to wear a mask and we'll send you some cash. And Anthony Fauci at whitehouse.gov replied, just got the Venmo, gonna buy a boat. Laughing cry emoji. I looked on Venmo and I found the transaction. It says right here, Big Mask paid Tony Fauci bribe money. Credible doctor at website you never heard of .biz says, I believe hydroxychloroquine can help fight the virus. Tony Fauci said, yeah, right. Gonna tell these MFers to get vaccinated, and then we'll really be able to control them. The Schlong Guru at Extends.com says, want to make your hang down bigger? We got you covered. And Tony Fauci says, I'll take 2 cases. So it looks like Dr. Fauci's been lying to you this whole time about masks, about treatment, about enlarging your hang down, and surprise, surprise, it looks like I've been right this whole time, America. Tony, what was the email for Extend?
All right, we're back here. As always, Brent explains it all to us. John has stepped away for a moment. So, yeah, if anybody's got an idea what's going on with these emails, please give us a call here, 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428, because I honestly don't know. I got lambasted by somebody during the week, and I really have no idea. Neither does John. We're moving on here. As I'm looking at the solo, I want to apologize for this godforsaken thing on my lip. As I stated earlier, I went to a wedding last week. We had everybody was vaccinated, first full event at this venue, and after 2 years of being fit as a fiddle, I walked away from it with a cold. So I've been suffering with this, not suffering, fighting this all week. It's just back on, but this just looks ugly, and I apologize for that. Where was I? See, I'm not good at doing this alone. I need Shannon back here, and I need him back here quickly. We got a couple other things we're going to touch on here. Let's talk about Well, this is from Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is always one of my favorite bits that he does. This week in COVID history. Let's take a look back a year.
This week in COVID history, it's June 2020, and America declares victory.
Congratulations, America. The comeback begins.
You heard it from the Q-tip. Even Sin City is lighting back up. Vegas, baby. And it was all thanks to Donnie Bill the Wahlberg's unprecedented COVID contributions. Like making sure everyone stayed safe inside their homes.
Get in your house now! Let's go!
Protecting the White House with corona-proof barricades. And showing us it's safe to once again worship him.
In that moment, holding the Bible up is a very important symbol. And like Churchill, we saw him inspecting the bombing damage. It's been a powerful message of leadership.
Yes, and all Winston Churchill's fried chicken had to do is shoo away some rabble-rousers. Some yahoos argue the protesters were peaceful. Tear gas was used, and it was a photo op.
The protesters weren't peaceful. No tear gas was used. And it wasn't a photo op.
Well, that settles that. But one respected journalist still demands answers.
Why didn't you go to St. John's the other day? What was the message that you wanted to send to people?
Religious leaders loved it. Religious leaders thought it was great. They loved it.
True. Just ask any religious leader.
The Bible is not a prop.
It makes a mockery of Christianity.
It was an act that mocked God.
You just don't do that, Mr. President. It isn't cool.
And nobody knows cool like Kid Turtleneck. This just in. A Fox News poll shows Biden is up 14 points. But don't be bamboozled.
I know all of you are freaking about the polls. Well, the experts say that Biden's way ahead. It's his election to lose. The so-called experts are just horribly wrong.
Yes, take it from her. She's horrible and wrong. This has been This Week in COVID History.
And that's from Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. Listen, I am going to come right out and say it. I am sorry. I took the advantage of that last bit there. God, I missed. How could I miss Brent? But I had to get up.
But you know what? If you did miss him, John, do you know where you can find him? I mean, besides on Twitter, on his own account, you go to radiotfi.com.
Absolutely. And I plan on going there and checking it out. Maybe even before the end of the show. Who knows?
Yeah, well, there you go. I stumbled across some very interesting facts I thought would be fun to share here in hour number 2. Are you ready for this?
Were you able to dust yourself off after you stumbled?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You didn't fall and couldn't get up or anything like that? You just stumbled.
I've fallen and I can't get up. You're a bastard.
Thank you.
Okay. You're going to, how many more times are you going to interrupt me now?
Oh, I think the score is still Ed 24, John 3, but go ahead.
You're way off. You're way off. It's in the thousands. This is from @fact on Twitter, an account I follow. Here's a fact. Humans put a man on the moon before they put wheels on luggage. I bet you didn't know that. Oh, by the way, let me put a stop to this. We have Goldilocks. We forgot about Goldilocks.
Oh no, go ahead and you got a couple more facts. I mean,
no. We're going to put a pause on that for now. But did you realize that this is one of those?
I didn't realize, but they are absolutely correct. And
we landed a man on the moon in 1969, and wheels came on luggage in 1970. And we're going to put a pin in this for now because I want to hear what John has for Goldilocks this week. And we haven't come up with theme music yet, but gosh darn it, we're gonna.
So after thinking long and hard, I have decided to go with a particular a theme, if you will.
A theme. Okay.
We're not we're starting to get into the OTAs now in football and what have you. So especially when the the Minnesota Twins are sucking up the joint like they are this year. You're already starting to look at football. Where are you? Where are you, football?
94 days away.
So I've decided that I'm going to look at I'm going to give you 3 teams.
Okay.
Over from the NFL who have been what I would consider, what people would have maybe said for different reasons, have been dynasties.
Okay. Now, before we continue on, tell the people how much time I've had to consider any of this.
I just sprung this on him now.
That is correct. Okay, let's go.
And that's the way I like it, actually.
That's the way I like it, too.
So, first team, we will go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, God. Do I think that? So, we're still doing overrated, underrated?
Yes, exactly.
Without question, overrated. I don't care what Dak Shepard or whatever the hell his name is, Preston Peacock. The Cowboys have good teams in the same cycle as everybody else. Look, they've had some fantastic quarterbacks over the years, but Troy Aikman hasn't played since I had hair on my head. Do I think they're a good team? No.
And now while you're doing this, I want you to think about the entire, not just what's happened in the last year or two. I want you to think about the entirety of the franchise.
Okay, the entirety of the franchise, including when they started out in Kansas City?
No, that's not true. That is not true. The Kansas City Chiefs started out in Dallas.
In Dallas. My apologies. I was going for that KC connection there. Look, the Cowboys had a great run. They were a dynasty back in the 80s. Okay? Back when it seemed like every year the Super Bowl was them and the Steelers. You just couldn't get away from it. But if the question is, what do I think of them now? What I've always thought of them, they're overrated. Always been overrated. They've had good teams, but they've always been overrated. And that's thanks in part to the ringmaster, Jerry Jones, who needs to shut his flipping mouth and go down and coach the team himself. I mean, he's not as mouthy about it as he used to be. But if you're going to run your mouth, go down, put on the headset, and you coach the team.
Very good.
Thank you.
Next on the list. Oh, by the way, I think they're if you look at their entire
history.
Franchise, through their history, I think they're properly rated.
Well, that's you.
I think that,
and that's why you sit in that box and not this one. Okay.
I think that they're, they when they were dubbed America's team.
Jerry Jones dubbed them America's team.
Well, but it caught on. I don't care who actually.
Why was there a hole in the roof of the old Texas Stadium? So God could watch his favorite team. That was the answer.
Oh, good Lord!
That was the answer. I didn't make that up. Good Lord, I wouldn't take credit for that. Now, would I, Gil? Gil, thank you, Gil. No, it's not time for lunch yet. Soon. Gil Christ, everybody. What do you got next there, Skippy?
Secondly, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Now, the Steelers, I think they are properly rated. They have been, look, every franchise has its ups and downs. But let's face it, they have, you can literally count on one hand the number of losing seasons they've had in the past 20, 30 years. They don't always make the postseason, but they're in the fight to some point, even 8-8. They're there. I think Mike Tomlinson has done a fantastic job. You had Bill Cowher before that, Chuck Noll before that. These are three fantastic coaches. And they've kept that team on a steady course. Again, it doesn't always work out. But I think if you're a Steelers fan, you can't be unhappy with the history. Especially, let's go with the recent history, especially since the merger in 1970, when the Steelers went from the NFL to the AFC. One of three teams that did so: the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Colts. Steelers, I'm caught between properly rated and underrated. They're not really underrated, but it's just if it tilted off that middle, it would just a tick towards underrated. I think again, over a spread of 40 years or so, 40, 50 years, they're everything you expect them to be and more.
See, I've always thought there was a mystique about the Pittsburgh Steelers. No matter when they were playing, I mean, even when they've had their off years, they always seemed there was always a mystique. If you play the Steelers, their fan base probably second only to maybe Cleveland as far as ravenous fans, for one thing.
That's true. And also just the name Steelers. I mean, it puts something. Look, let's face it. The Dolphins do not instill fear into anybody's fan base. But we won't talk about them right now. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so I've always, no matter what kind of year the Steelers have had, when the Vikings have played the Steelers, I've always thought, this is going to be a tough one. This is.
Right, you get that feel. You always expect when the Steelers play, you always expect a good game.
Exactly.
You always expect to see the Steelers to do well. Obviously, that doesn't always happen, but you definitely got that. Man, this is going to be okay.
So I would definitely say I'm pretty much in that same boat with you, where I would probably lean maybe just a bit to underrated. I think, but I'm in that same boat, right between underrated and properly rated. Okay, now I'm going to throw you your bone here, if you will, and I want your honest assessment on this one.
I can't speak about the Vikings, so make it somebody else.
I didn't plan. I wasn't talking about the Vikings. I was talking about the one and only Miami Dolphins.
Miami has a dolphin.
All right, let's talk.
Were you just waiting? You were just waiting for me to set that up for you, weren't you?
It's sitting right there on the button. Is always just waiting to be pushed. It's on eternal readiness. The Dolphins. Okay, it's a long sordid history. I will not say we have had anything close to a dynasty. Now, we had Shula, 347 wins, most in the NFL. Not all came with the Dolphins. Some of those came, a good chunk of those, not a good chunk, but anyway.
Baltimore Colts.
Baltimore Colts, by the way, he was the one that Joe Namath beat in that famous Super Bowl III, where? In Miami. Just a coincidence. We had the perfect season, 72. We were doing fine in the 80s, especially after we got Marino. Remember, since since 73, I think we beat the Vikings in 73 in the Super Bowl. And 1 year we beat the Redskins, 1 year we beat the Vikings. Whichever way it goes. But into the 80s and early 90s, we only went to the Super Bowl one time. I think that was 84 or 85 with Marino. Marino only went once in his second year, and we lost to San Francisco. That when I first became a fan of the team. Dynasty, no, because we really hit the skids in the 90s and the early aughts, and horrible. The Jimmy Johnson era we looked like we had some hope. Let me give you the short answer. Overrated. Dolphins have been overrated for a long time. Now, this coming season, I think they're properly rated. But let me finish with, we had Jimmy Johnson, who was, it was kind of working out. And then we had to take his, Johnson retired, and we had to take his boy, Dave Wannstedt. Now, the folks in Chicago will tell you what a loser Dave Wannstedt is. And we found out the hard way that Dave Wannstedt does not play to win. He plays not to lose. And he would whip out this prevent defense, which, of course, only prevents you from winning. That's all the prevent defense does. He hated Marino. I don't know if he hated Marino, but he didn't want to play Marino. The story at the time was that ownership told him he had to play Marino. And Marino said, look, coach, I'll hand it off 100 times if you want. There was no we did finally make it back to the playoffs. We got booted out in the first round. We played in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's second year. By the way, here's a side story. Jacksonville and Carolina came into the league the same year. In their second year, both teams, they both made it to the conference finals. We were this far away from having the expansion bowl that year in the Super Bowl. Jacksonville, Carolina. This close. Anyway, we got to go to Jacksonville for the first round, where we got whooped up on 62-7. Marino's final game. Again, another side note. I watched that game. Fundamentals. People couldn't catch the ball. They couldn't defend against the ball. Nothing. They did nothing right. I was ashamed to be a supporter of the team that day. But Dynasty, they had a shot, but no, overrated, highly overrated. But not this year, not this year. Don't count this upcoming year, because I think they're properly rated for this coming year. Brian Flores has done a fantastic job. I was sorry to see Fitzmagic go away, because I'd like to see Tua have that experienced hand behind him. But hey, it is what it is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Of course, I'll never be honest about my feelings about the Dolphins for a couple different reasons. For one thing, I still, to this day, still am brooding about the fact that I sat through the NFL's longest game in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Dolphins and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Only to have first off Jan Stenerud, who was a very reliable kicker for the Chiefs, hit that field goal, sending it into overtime.
Yeah.
And then having Garo Yepremian kick the field goal.
Kick the butt.
Just ripped my heart out.
Yeah.
As a young Kansas City Chiefs fan. So I can't say I still haven't forgiven him for that. Still haven't.
Let me tell you this little story. 1994, I'm on my Schmooze Across America trip with my buddy Harry, and the only event we had planned was to see the Dolphins play the aforementioned Minnesota Vikings in the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome. It's the only thing we scheduled. We bought tickets for it. It was a fantastic day. 28-28, and I had to. Well, the Dolphins were down 28-0 at one point, and we came back, and Marino did his thing, and came back 4 unanswered touchdowns. Score was tied, and then Fuad Revez came out. Oh, Fuadomatic! I had to listen to. So, and yet I was able to get past that.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
So I gave you my rating. Where are you on the Dolphins?
Honestly, I think that they are probably, all in all, I think that they're underrated, believe it or not. They've had some fantastic years. They've had some not so
God. Oh, you don't know. You
I
know,
mean,
look, it's different for me because I was really a lot more in tune with what was going on with the team, just like you are with the Vikings. Okay.
Mhm.
You know, I'm watching the little dramas play out that are getting reported locally, blah, blah, blah.
Did they strike fear into not necessarily teams' hearts, but in maybe football fans, like the Steelers, oh my
There was a
God.
time. There was a time. I'll tell you one of the things that irritated me the most and still annoys me to this day. Ricky Williams comes to the Dolphins. This man, it was fantastic the first year. He's just running through everything. I wanted to bear his children. I was, life was good. I guess it was his second year. He was going to be with they basically built the whole offense around him. Okay. And then he decided he was going to go smoke some ganja on the beach somewhere. Just at the last minute. Oh, no, I'm not going to play. And I mean, literally, the offense was built around him. Of course, there was always the contingency that he might get injured, but for the most part, they went into the season, okay, Ricky's our guy at running back. He's got a lot of talents. We can use him. And defenses will, account for that, which frees up other people. You know how it goes.
Mm.
Now we don't have Ricky. Well, it was a massacre that year. It was just a massacre. And I blame Ricky Williams because we didn't have time to fill in that gap. You have a game plan going into the season, a master plan. And now, yes, could he have gotten injured? Yes, of course, that could have happened. And we would have had the same result. But this was him saying, see ya.
So whatever happened to him then?
I just saw him someplace. He popped up. He came back. We had him for about 20 minutes because he got the snot suit out of him by the Dolphins because, hey, you owe us some money, dude. You signed a contract. So
I'm sure his heart wasn't necessarily in it at that point in time, when you have to come back.
No. Well, he came back. Well, he ran out of money. You can only sit on the beach and smoke weed for so long. So
I don't know. I've never tried. I would not have that point of reference.
So anyway, all those side things aside, so what do you? Where were you on the Dolphins?
I think that they are underrated.
Thank you. I think you're wrong.
And I'll tell you why. To me, the Dolphins have always been, even before the Brady bunch, they always seem to be the class of
AFC East. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And again, they didn't always field the greatest teams, and they also didn't necessarily strike fear in your heart and mind like the Steelers, or other teams like the Bears. The Bears come to mind as a team that you play, and they didn't have the same effect. But you always felt like when you were playing the Dolphins that they were the class of the league, and that they stood a chance of winning every time you played them.
That is correct. Well, what was it? I think it was a coach for the Vikings once said they're exactly who we think we are, who we think they are. Wasn't that Dennis Green said that?
It is Dennis Green, yeah.
They are exactly who we think they are. But okay, so there we have it. That's your Goldilocks for today.
That's Goldilocks for today. How about that?
By the way, let's do a split end on this on the final one. Let's hear your take on the Vikings. Not easy doing your own. It's not easy doing your own, is it?
To tell you the truth, I think that the Vikings are, I would say, properly rated.
Okay.
They're not all that, and in my mind here, they're not all that and a bag of chips, as Granny Annie likes to say.
I like to say that too.
But and the other thing is in Minnesota here, it was, there was a time when we didn't have, all four major sports franchises and a soccer team on top of it, plus a WNBA team. We have every possible franchise. We other than Major League Lacrosse. That's about it for us. There's a lot of different choices right now. Right now, the Twins are not. My God, I can't believe the injuries that the Twins have had this year. It's unbelievable. They've got like 8 guys off their starting day roster that are gone right now.
Opening day roster. That's what we call it in baseball here in America.
Well, excuse the piss out of me.
Are you new to the language? Is that what it is?
Whatever.
Since we're speaking about sports that are not, whatever, we're speaking about sports. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're watching this and not listening, I showed this to John before the show. By the way, I am holding John. What do you? I'll describe it in a moment. John, what do you think this is?
It's a big plastic rat.
You're close. What I'm holding up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and kittens, and by the way, especially for the kittens, it's a rubber rat. This rat, if you can remember, 25 years ago, the Florida Panthers. One of our guys, I can't remember who it was. There was a rat in the locker room at the old Miami Arena, and he one-timed it right off the wall. Bang! Killed it. Well, this got out, and now every time they scored a goal for the rest of the season, people started throwing these rats. I had a bunch of them. I went to one game after that. I kept one. But this actually hasn't even been cleaned in 25 years. The game I was at, I happened to be sitting right near where they collected. They had 55-gallon drums of rats. And after that year, that was the year the Panthers went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They got swept by Colorado. Oh God, that hurt. And after that, the league said, no more throwing things on the ice. If you do this, that, and the other thing. Of course, people in Detroit have been throwing octopuses.
I was going to say.
First off, I want to know, okay, how do you sneak an octopus into the arena? These things are not solid. They're big and they're drippy and look, this goes in your pocket. It goes in your pocket. By the way, it squeaks. That's a white rubber rat with its mouth open, being very fierce. So anyway, that's a little. The Panthers are out of the postseason now, but a couple of weeks ago, somebody, when they were still in it, somebody put that up on Twitter that it was the 25th anniversary of the year of the rat. So I didn't have to dig it out. It's been sitting out in the open I've never put it away. It's always been out there.
We might have to talk hockey next week.
Hockey, yeah. Are the Wild still in it?
Wild are out.
Oh, well, then.
They lost to the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round.
I love the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know why I don't know anything about them except that they're an expansion team and they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in their very first year of existence. And let me tell you, Game 2 of that series a couple of years ago, them and the Washington Capitals, was the best hockey game I had ever watched. Vegas won that game. It was the only game they won in the series. But boy, I have not sat glued to a game like that. I can't explain it. I can't describe it. It just, for the first time in I don't know how many years, I was just bear hugged by the game and I just couldn't turn it off. And so, yeah, we can talk a little hockey next week. Sure.
I have tried. I probably should save this for next week, but screw it. I have tried to get behind the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't get my head around it. I've always been when I first started watching hockey, when I came up here to Minnesota from Kansas City. Of course, Kansas City didn't have a professional hockey franchise. Well, they didn't have an NHL franchise.
I'm going to prove you wrong right now.
Scouts didn't play there when the Scouts didn't play there when I lived there.
Where are the Scouts now?
New Jersey, via Colorado.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Very good. What was their name in Colorado?
The Rockies.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
Not as dumb as I look some days.
No, most days you're not. Well, anyway, some days you're not.
But ever since the North Stars left for Dallas, by the way, there are those who speculate that the reason that Norm Green, the owner of the team, when they were up here, he moved to Dallas to get away from sexual harassment charges in Minnesota with some of his employees. So he saw an opening and took it,
so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. But I just have never.
You set that up on the tee, so I couldn't.
I just have not been able. I mean, we had when I moved up here in the early '70s. Not only did we have a NHL franchise, but we had a franchise in the World Hockey Association.
The WHA, yeah.
And they, which at that time actually was a very credible league. Gordie Howe was playing for the Houston franchise.
Houston Aeros.
Yes, exactly.
I went to one WHA game at the Garden, Madison Square Garden. The New York Golden Blades. I won tickets. I sold a bunch of candy, and the prize was a couple of tickets. No. I got Knicks tickets for that. And somehow I wound up with tickets when I was a kid. I must have been. I know I was a kid to the Golden Blades. The place was empty. It was. They moved shortly. Anyway. Speaking of alternative sports leagues, the USFL is coming back.
I heard that next year, huh?
Yes, I am following them now on the Twitter. They just created a Twitter account the other day, and I just no Trump. Here are the rules. Here are the rules that they need to follow. The things they need to follow to be successful. Number one, keep Trump away from it. Number two, know your place. You're a spring football league. Don't try to compete with the NFL. Compliment them. Don't. Number three, keep Trump away from it. And number four, keep Trump away from it.
Oh, there you go.
And you can change the order of those rules any way you like. But hey, I got a couple more facts here. I want to throw out.
Before you do, have they announced the franchises for that league yet?
Not yet. They still retain the rights to the original names. As of what I read the other day, right now it's probably going to start with 8 teams. Could be more, but look, you'll never find a better logo than the Tampa Bay Bandits, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was as far as
I'm concerned, and they played well too. They played very well. Anyway, I could talk USFL for days. Are you ready for a few more fun facts here?
Sure, why not?
This one got me. I love this one. The world's shortest.
What?
I was starting to talk, but you were drinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you forgot to mute on the ice. The world's shortest horror story consists of only 2 sentences. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Don't nod your head. Say something.
I did say. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock on the door. It's a horror story. You're the last man on earth. You're sitting in a room.
Oh. Okay.
Sucks when you got to explain them. Koalas were those big cuddly animals. Koalas sleep 22 hours a day.
What a life.
Hey, I enjoyed it like that for about 6 months. By the way, the average American thinks they're smarter than the average American. Or smarter than the average bear, for that matter.
Could be.
Hey, boo-boo. Just another reason to drag out the Yogi impression. And here's one that is near and dear to my heart. Being sarcastic can make people mentally stronger.
Oh, totally get it. Totally get that one.
Hey, boo-boo. So for those for the sarcastic people around, well, screw you. Anyway, that's all I got.
Oh no! Oh, we could talk about sarcasm for.
Really? Can we?
Oh, we could.
Can we?
Yes, we could.
I'm being sarcastic.
You sarcastic prick.
Mr. Sarcastic. Don't be rude. We got like 4 minutes left. Don't be rude.
Well, come on. I'm just it's okay to prick your finger.
Yeah, but you can't finger your prick.
Yeah.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare try to out-Carl and me, buddy boy. I can't believe that we're scrambling now. 2 weeks off. Well, not 2 weeks, 1 week off, but a 2-week gap. We'd like to thank everybody that called in today. Nobody. They call in every week.
Yeah, our number one fan. Nobody.
So I'm talking to my nephew at the wedding last week. One of my nephews, the one who had actually listened a couple times, and he says, "Yeah, I haven't listened in a while. Maybe I'll listen this week." So it's somebody, his mother, my sister, somebody, Oh, my sister says, "Oh, you listen?" He says, "Yeah. I listen when I can." So he says to me, "I'm going to try and listen this week." I said, "When?" He says, "Oh, probably one night this week." Dan, we haven't been on at night since. And download the app, by the way. It's we've made some adjustments to the app. We fixed some of the errors, some of the formatting errors. So the app is just humming along, singing a song. We let's see. What else do we want to talk about, John, in the couple of minutes we have left here?
Well, geez.
Well.
That we literally have fallen off the cliff this time.
We've fallen short. We're just this close to the finish line.
It was bound to happen.
We have 1 minute to go. 1 minute before the music cues up. Well, and we're gonna sit here and stare at each other, aren't we?
Pretty much. I to tell you the truth, I am completely at a loss. I
got nothing.
Let's see if there isn't something I can come up with in 30 seconds here.
Oh, by the time you find it, look, we're just about done. We're just about out. We're just gonna flop around.
Hold on just 1 second. I'll leave you with this. A right-wing blogger launches a GoFundMe page for AOC's Puerto Rican grandmother. Yes.
People, they raised a lot of money.
Yeah, they did. Good. I think good for them.
AOC, my gal.
Exactly.
And we didn't even mention your gal, and we didn't mention the nitwit Matt Gaetz this week. Oh, we got a lot to 5 seconds. 4 seconds.
2, 1. There it is.
There it is.
Music to my ears. Hey, thanks for joining us here. We will try to be back here next week. Thanks again for listening to the Taxi Stand Hour on Radio TFI. I'm John Shannon. That's Ed Van Ness. And I got the money.
See ya!
If you keep on talking, baby, you know you're bound to drive me away. Yes, if you keep on talking, baby, you know you're bound to drive me away. Yes. Yes, dear. Yes, I'm listening. Oh, I heard every word you said, honey. Yes. Yes, dear. Oh, I agree. You're right. Yeah, you're always right, baby. Yes, dear. Uh-huh.